Hi, I'm Seleena and this is my zine, Happy Alone and Other Stories. It's a zine about myself and asexuality. I wrote it in 2019, but it started a long time, maybe a year or so prior to that, where I started writing it, and then I wanted it to be a submissions-based zine. Then I scrapped that, started writing it again, deleted it. So it took a while to get here, but eventually I was like, I'm just going to make this zine and put it out. The beginning of the zine has a little brief introduction about asexuality, so I'm going to read that out, and then I'm going to read the final piece in the zine that I think was also the final piece that I wrote for the zine, about being not queer enough. So, asexuality, the lack of sexual attraction to others or low or absent interest in or desire for sexual activity. It may be considered the lack of sexual orientation or one of the variations thereof, alongside heterosexuality, homosexuality and bisexuality. So yeah, the zine talks about, as I said, myself, identifying as an asexual person or on a spectrum, about loving your friends a lot, and things like that. So this piece is called Not Queer Enough. If you ask me to define queerness in the simplest of terms, I would say anything or anyone that doesn't identify as heterosexual. Whether you are gay, bi, non-cis, trans, anything that isn't what society deems as the norm. Yet I have been dating someone the same gender as myself for 18 months and still struggle calling myself queer. There are a myriad of reasons for this. Asexual erasure, the belief that being on the A spectrum doesn't make you queer, the fear of people making assumptions that I'm a lesbian and that's it, the end. White middle class now being synonymous with queer identity, therefore erasing a huge part of myself, and mainly the fear of taking up space that wasn't meant for me. Throughout most of my adult life, everything I do is about taking up space. As a working class brown woman, this filters through into my day job, workshops I facilitate, zines I make, art I create, and I want to be able to take up space not meant for me and encourage and provide a platform for others to do the same. So I don't want to be a non-queer person adopting the label queer to take up space that others need. I mentioned above how I feel queer is now synonymous with the white middle class. Almost every queer space I enter these days, the white middle class are the most prevalent, and I'm not about to start judging people on how they choose to identify, but the cynic within me can't help but think of all those memes flying around. Memes like this. Yeah, there's your white girl, just covering it up with a queerness plaster. So half of me is afraid to identify as queer because I don't think I'm queer enough and don't want to take up space not meant for me. Whilst the other half doesn't want to identify as queer because I don't want to feel like I'm just ticking another box to make me seem edgy or oppressed. A little more recently, I've started saying out and loud that I am a brown, queer, working class woman and feeling comfortable with that. It isn't due to me being in the mostly white, queer DIY spaces I have been in since I was a teenager. If anything, these spaces often make me feel not queer enough. Not having multiple partners, not speaking openly about sex, not always being comfortable in hypersexualized spaces, and the recent rise in the constant news of academic language. It's thanks to me finding spaces with other QTPOC. Groups like Rainbow Noir, where LGBT plus people of colour can meet, hang out, have a safe space, craft, go to shows. Spaces like that made me feel welcome and queer enough. I've started to think about what queerness means to me a lot recently. Earlier in the zine, I said, I value the friendships in my life highly, and if you are a good friend of mine, you are a friend for life. I have an obsessive personality, the sort that follows a band on tour, makes zines about their faith program, collects stuff, that kind of thing. And my commitment to my friendships is similar. I've always been the sort of person that hated it when a friend dumped you because they gained a romantic partner. I've also been the friend that has had major fallouts and ex-pals tell me I'm too much and that I just have a big lesbian crush on them. For me, queerness is being able to be close to someone without worrying about what is lacking in terms of a relationship, and ignoring society and queer norms about valuing all my relationships and treating them equally, holding my friends' hands, telling them they're cute and that I love them, telling myself I am queer enough.